As much as I loathe the holidays, 'tis the season to be an asshole, and that is why we are going to be playing Batman Returns for the Sega CD. What? It's a Sega CD game. The movie takes place during Christmas. Alright, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but hey, I need to correct a grave injustice. I'm sure we've all seen the Angry Nerd 2-part review of the Batman series of games. While he praised the Super Nintendo version of Batman Returns, I agree it's a satisfying button masher, he quickly dismissed the Sega CD game. As thorough as the man can be, he forgot to mention that the Sega CD version is an expanded port of the Genesis cartridge, a game he completely ignored. The Sega titles are completely different from the SNES beat-em-up. While the Super Nintendo game was developed and published by Konami, Sega handled the Dark Knight directly. The Genesis version, developed by Acme Interactive in conjunction with Malibu, is a side-scrolling platformer much like Batman the video game by Sunsoft. Left to right, punch, kick, jump, repeat. Nothing we haven't seen, but it's okay. The overall look and feel is faithful to Tim Burton's Batman Scissorhands. Batman Returns. The graphics are just as dark and moody as the movie from which it's based, and the music complements the action. My one problem I have with this fucker is gameplay. I'm not going to piss and moan about the platforming so much as the complete lack of balance. It's damn near impossible trying to attack a standard enemy without taking a shot or two in the mouth, yet the first few bosses you encounter are easier than your mom. Little strategy is required for Catwoman or Penguin.
Dude, how could you? She's a woman!
I don't give a fuck if she's a woman! Penguin's an easy takedown. Oddly enough, the garish statues in Gotham Square gave me a greater challenge. Yeah, because that was in the movie, right? Anyway, I'm sure they'll reappear and be much more challenging. Or not. But I've yet to beat this one. Why is that? Besides the punishing difficulty, controls feel stiff. Far from unplayable, though not ideal, especially when you're trying to use the grappling hook in a quick or knuckle dust a gargoyle. All in all, it's playable. Not great, but not a complete waste of time. The Sega CD game is much, much better. Already, the opening sequence slaps you in the face and demands respect. Rather than showing off some poor quality video ripped from the movie, it gives you this dazzling animation that shows off the hardware's capabilities. The Genesis version has a similar sequence minus the visual flair or scaling and rotation. The music's even better. Like Demolition Man, the Sega CD version has a CD quality soundtrack. Even the sound effects are original to this release. Little or nothing was recycled from the cartridge. Damn, even the options menu is kick-ass. Talk about panache, or panache. However, you'll notice you're given the option to play the full game where you play both the platforming and driving levels, or either one on their own. Don't feel like jumping around in your foam rubber jammies? Fine, just take the compensator out for a spin. That's fucking rad. Sega CD offered up so much more than substandard FMV. This baby had some horsepower and it was time to let it shine, and it certainly does. This may not be the most impressive display of the system's capabilities, showing, but she's a looker alright. The scaling and rotation effects are on display here with minimal use of color. That's totally cool. Again, this is in keeping with the look of the film. These acts are broken up into 6 stages. With every stage, we're given a bunch of bad guys and a time limit. You gotta blow up the mad cyclists, trucks, tankers, and so on. Once you do, the stage ends and the timer resets. When you reach the final stage, you're given a boss. They demand patience, firepower, and a little ingenuity. Nothing you won't figure out with a little trial and error. It may be a little redundant, though the sense of speed and rush of excitement I feel is undeniable. This is pure, non-stop action. I gotta say, that time limit's a real cum shot to the uvula. You have very little time to mow these punks down, and because you're rushing, you are bound to fuck up several times over before you move on to the next act. On the bright side, this handles a whole lot better than the platforming sections, and you have unlimited continues.
You don't really think you'll win, do you?
And I thought I hated the Penguin before. Batman Returns for Sega CD is by no means whatsoever a great Batman game. I wouldn't say it was the worst either. Still, it's worth owning just for the driving levels. Just a shame the movie didn't have this much action. Well, not that I got that off my chest. What's wrong with you?
It's chilly in here.
Get out.